What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at ToyWorld TW-C01 Bulldozer, otherwise known as Not Bone Crusher. Now you notice I have the box here, and I'm going to show you why here in a moment, but I also wanted to give you an idea of the size of the box the figure comes in. It is much larger than MP10 Prime, even though the figure that we get isn't actually bigger than MP10 Prime. And that's because of a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and show you what I'm talking about. So opening up the box, we have a couple of different things. First off, the figure, which was here, which I've already removed. A gun for the figure itself, for the individual figure. Some fill-ins or screw fill-ins, and an extra set of treads. A giant drill for the combined mode. The fist for the combined mode. And then the lower arm for the combined mode. Unfortunately, this does not transform into anything, or at least I don't think it does, because the one thing this set did not come with is directions. No directions came with this box, and I've already removed the foam here, which is really good, high quality foam. I'm really happy third parties are starting to use this stuff more, but it would be nice if I had directions. And here we have Bulldozer out of the box, and I gotta say, I am really impressed. This is a very nice looking Bulldozer mode. It just works really well. Now, I'm being kind of careful with it in spinning it around because I want to show you that the treads do move, and we'll get into that in a second. But overall, the Bulldozer mode is really quite good. The only complaint I have with the alt mode is the fact that the front bucket doesn't lift up very high. Now, the gimmick with this guy in this mode doesn't work so well on my review table, but I'm dragging him along and forcing the treads to move. The treads move perfectly fine. In both modes, actually. In both robot and vehicle mode, the treads move. Hence why you had those, or that one set of extra treads in the box. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find a place to store the gun in this mode. Guess you could have it off to the side here, but that doesn't work so well. And let's talk about the gun for a second. I think it works really well and looks really cool. It kind of reminds me of like an oil can, in all honesty. Like one of the, if you've ever been in an engineer shop or a big mechanics shop, they have these giant oil cans. It kind of reminds me of that, in all honesty. Now we're going to move on to Bulldozer's transformation, which is not as hard as I originally thought it was going to be. I ended up not needing directions to transform it from vehicle mode to robot mode, which is good because I didn't have any. To start off with, we're going to come to the front of the bucket and push the top of the bucket down into the inside of the bucket, and then we could fold the sides in and they will snap into place. Then we're going to come to the actual side of the figure and unpeg these outer pegs from them. So just pull them apart like that. Then turn the figure upside down, reach underneath, and grab the back of the treads and wiggle them apart until they split apart from the rest of the body. And then what you're going to do is swing the center of these green pieces to get down and together to form the legs. But first, you kind of want to just flip the treads forward so you can then get an angle in there on the ball joints to unpeg them and swing the legs down, or the crotch down. And this is actually probably the hardest part of the transformation because these screws are very tight. I've tried loosening them and it doesn't make much difference. And you're supposed to sandwich these together with that tab and tab hole, which again, rather difficult. Needs a little bit more force than I'm actually comfortable with. Now that we've got the crotch section combined, what we're going to do is come to those parts that were sticking up over the treads and pegging into the top of the vehicle mode and just turn them to the side and fold them down into place. There's a little like gap here between these two tongs where the parts can go. So just fold them down. Then come to the bottom back of the treads and you have these two sections that are sandwiched together that actually split apart and will form the front and back of the feet. To get this properly transformed, first we'll do the back part on the other leg and then take this section, fold it out, around to the front, and then flip the toes down. So then we have the feet all ready to go. They don't peg into place. Just be wary that they don't peg into place. Next up comes the top, and this is actually a little bit tricky. This is the combiner part right here. It looks like a giant Combiners Wars piece. So fold it all the way down from the body, then take the front of the vehicle mode and lift it up, and these pegs that actually peg the top end of the purple, fold them up into what will be the arms, and then open this back panel like that, fold this up, and then these two pieces are going to scissor out and drop the top of the vehicle mode down onto the rest of the body. And it's not exactly easy to do the first time, but once you do it the first time, it actually loosens everything up so you could do it more. That sounded wrong. Next, we're going to take the combiner port and fold that up at the second joint into this open cavity. And this is incredibly difficult because of how tight the combiner joint is. And if you hear some noise, that's my son throwing things down the stairs because he likes to do that. Yes, a little bit is going to stick out. Oh well, just kind of cover it slightly with the panel. You can kind of lock it into place a little bit, but it doesn't really do anything. So just kind of leave it. Next, come to the front of the vehicle mode and actually just grab them and open them and splay them out like that. Then take the, well, I guess the cab covering and fold that to the back. And that will allow us to flip up the robot mode head. Next up are the arms. We're going to take the arms and just pull them away from the shoulder joint, and they'll just scissor right out, and we could fold those down. And then come underneath where the come down to the forearm, open up the panel, and flip out the robot fists like that. It's going to look like it's going to open up on the green parts, but the green parts really don't move, so just be wary of that. And twist the fist such that, well, pose it like you want to have it posed. So do the same thing on the other side. And then finally, we are going to come to the last piece, and that is the chest. Come to the bucket and actually flip out these gray pieces all the way, and then the bucket will fold up into the chest. It actually won't lock into place until you take these gray pieces and fold them in and hook them into these little peg holes, or these little clips, and then that holds the bucket in place. And there we go. Bulldozer's transformation is complete. I have to admit, the bot mode that we end up with ToyWorld Bulldozer is really cool. I like this guy a lot. Though the final product we have here doesn't really match the pictures that we were given off of by ToyWorld themselves, nor do they match what's on the box, which I find very strange, but oh well, what are you going to do? Not much I could do about that. Even though I like Bulldozer a lot, I have no idea if this is the actual 100% correct transformation. I just don't know. I don't have directions, as I said earlier, so I kind of had to guess based on pictures on the net and just fiddling around with him. And I think I've got him the way he's supposed to be. Like I said, I don't know. I honestly do not know. Size-wise, the figure is freaking huge. I mean, it is almost the size of MP10 Masterpiece Prime. In fact, it's the same size as MP27 Ironhide. In fact, he's pretty much the same size. The figure has an absolutely fantastic head sculpt as well. It's very close to Bone Crusher. Not exactly, but very close. And he also has amazing light piping. Mr. Thu is going to love this thing. Also, the bot mode features some really excellent posability. He's got full knee, ankle, torso joints, the arms are well jointed, and he can get off a lot of different movements and poses. And each individual finger is posed or is posable at the knuckle. So you can have him pseudo flipping off Autobots, but it doesn't really work all that well, other than holding guns and weapons and stuff. The only issues that I've been able to find with Bulldozer are twofold. One, Posability is limited due to the thickness of the treads, and the treads do sometimes pop off, but they go back on easily. And 2 has to do with the way his chest clips onto the rest of the body. Those little gray clips have a tendency to move around a little bit too much for my taste, and they do come apart rather easily. Not a huge deal, just something you need to be aware of. Overall, Bulldozer is frickin' fantastic. I have got to say, gang, you really ought to pick this one up, especially if you're interested in getting a third-party Devastator set. Hopefully the rest of the figures are going to be this solid. Now, I'm left with a quandary. Do I continue with the Gravity Builder set, or do I go with the ToyWorld set, or do I doom my entire collection and space and get both sets? I don't know at this point. I'll make that decision later. So gang, I hope you have enjoyed this video review. As always, I am Baltmatrix. Ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.